Okay, today I'm going to show you how to make a clay loom that we'll later be weaving on. First, you're going to start out with a placemat and a piece of clay that I've cut for you. The first step, you're going to use the palm of your hand to flatten out the clay a bit. When you flatten out your clay, you want to keep the thickness the same and even. No side should feel much thinner than another. Once you've thinned it out a bit with the palm of your hand, next you're going to use the rolling pin. Now when you're rolling out your clay, you're essentially stretching it out so it gets thinner. What I don't want to see you do is roll it and then let the rolling pin roll off the clay. That will thin out your edges, just keep getting them thinner and thinner and thinner. So start pressing down with your rolling pin, stop when you get to the edge of the clay. Roll it in different directions to stretch the clay different ways. Again, just like with your palm, you want to keep your clay an even thickness. If you feel one side getting thinner than another, then don't roll it there anymore. Okay. There we go. Once you think you have it as large as you want it and the thickness that you want, you'll be ready for the next step. I do want to check, since this is a loom, I'm going to have a hole in the middle where my weaving will be and holes to put my warp strings. So I want to make sure that this is large enough, and if I put my template in the middle, I'll see I have plenty of space for the holes in this frame here. Next, you're going to choose one of my texture plates to press a texture into your clay. Here, this one has the texture of these stars. We usually use these texture plates to put under paper and then rub with crayon on top, but they also will press textures into our clay. Generally, one side feels a little bit bumpier maybe than another, so pick which side you want to press into the clay. Lay it on top. It might not fit your entire clay circle, that's okay. And give it a good amount of pressure, pressing it into the clay so that we can see those stars show up in the clay. You do not have to pick the star texture. This is just one of many different options. Again, I'm using my palm to kind of press it in. And then you can peel that off. If you need to add more, down here at the bottom, you could add more to finish it off. Okay. Now I'm ready to cut my hole and cut my holes where my warp strings will go when I do my weaving. So I'm going to put this template that I've made in the center. First thing I'm going to do is just use this wooden dowel to trace the circle into the clay. I'm not cutting the clay yet. Just in case my template moves on me, I'll know where to replace it because I've traced this into the clay. Alright, next I'm going to need a straw. This is just an ordinary drinking straw. The straw will poke the holes out of the clay where my warp strings will go for my loom. The lines on here show me where I want each hole to go. However, I don't want to put the holes right next to the edge. I want to give a little space from the line in the clay so that the string won't break through. So I'm going to line it up, press it all the way down to the table and pull it up. The clay goes inside the straw, and I'm going to keep doing that all the way around. You should have 17 holes in the end. That's how many lines I've put on the template. As you're doing this, the clay will start to fill up inside the straw, and you'll have to take a moment to empty it out, squeezing out the clay, get the extra stuff out, and continue poking your holes. Again, I'm not going too close to where my circle is. I'm leaving an edge there. Okay, that's the last one. You want to check and make sure that your clay the holes went all the way through the clay. You don't want anything blocking those holes. Squeeze out your extra clay. All right, now I'm ready to cut the circle out. To cut the circle out, I'm going to use my needle tool. The needle tool is very sharp. I'm going to press it all the way into the clay and cut around, making sure I'm cutting clear through to the bottom. Take the extra clay off the needle tool. I can take my template off now, and I can lift this up and remove the center part. We won't be needing this clay. If you have any little crumbs of clay, you can smooth those out so you have a nice smooth area inside. And so that we know that this is your clay loom, you need to make sure your name goes on the back. Carefully flip it over into your hand. This is a good time to check, make sure that the holes went all the way through. You can use the needle tool to write your name or initials. And then you can set this aside to dry so that it will be ready to go into the kiln.